Welcome everybody. You've joined another episode of Security Boulevard Chats. I'm Mitch Ashley.
And I'm Alan Schimmel.
We're here to talk with you about security, and our first kind of relaunching of the podcast. Reorg.
That's
everybody's
word of the day. Everybody's reorg.
We talked about the origin story of how we got into podcasting, and really you started it with some inspiration from Brad Feld and others. And we've been doing this for a while.
20 years. But we haven't been doing it for the last couple of years.
Yeah.
And so it's good to be back. And, Mitchell, you and I are doing the DevOps chat and Security Boulevard chats, but also as part of our TechStrong team, we have the Cloud Native podcast going live, TechStrong AI, Digital CXO podcast, as well as CISO Talks, which you do, and the DevOps Unbound
TechStrong Women
show and TechStrong Women. So then TechStrong 55. So we have a whole slew of podcasts that are out there, depending on what your interest is. We realize very few people are into all of these things that we're into, Mitch.
Exactly.
But pick which ones are good for you, subscribe to them, follow them, whether it's on Apple or Spotify or any other of your favorite podcasting channels. Or you can always catch them on techstrong.tv as well.
Absolutely.
So check them out. But of all of that, Mitchell, I like doing security because that's where we started. That's kind of right. And that's kind of where we're comfortable.
Home base for us.
Yep. So let's talk security a little bit.
Okay. Well, we're hearing, and we've been hearing this for a while now, the return to the office mandates. Now it's kind of back in the news of companies are saying 3 days a week or 5 days a week, or you can't get promoted unless you're working out of an office. And, it's kind of gone from the work at home. We just need people to
work anywhere, anytime.
Yeah.
Right.
Now companies are pulling back control, and a lot of it's about relationship building and
that's what they're saying.
And,
that's well, here's the thing. Why are we talking about this on Security Boulevard? Because I think they've come up with a new angle, and the new angle is, it's a security risk having these people remote.
Yeah, they're using their own computers and
their daughters' computers. And who knows who's overhearing it and everything else. And that sounds, this is like something out of Casablanca. Let's, round up the usual suspects. And I'm not saying that there's some, there's probably a kernel of truth there. Yeah. But really, look, and I'm saying this as a CEO. When you've got everybody remote, you can't help but think, oh yeah, that one's out with their child doing this. This one's taking the pet to the vet. This one has this going on. It just seems like, am I getting at my money's worth? Right? We all try to hire adults. We all try to act as adults, but we've also all seen the stories of people with 2 full-time jobs or more.
Exactly. Yeah.
Or, the average at-home person is working maybe 4 hours a day and stuff like that. And then the productivity losses extend to, the collaboration and people who zoomed out and even they're on Zoom but they're not paying attention. So, security might be a motivation here, but I don't think that's the primary driver.
If it truly was, we'd see data. We'd see reports and, this happened there. We've seen this for the 10th time this week.
I don't buy it.
Yeah.
I don't buy it.
I don't.
But whatever.
It's a good
look.
excuse.
If that's what I've been saying for a long time, because I see it here at TechStrong. Like you're in Colorado, it's hard. But for the rest of our team, especially those based in Florida, we function much better as a company with the people in the office.
Yeah, for sure. And you miss something by not being there, which is one of the reasons why I'm in the office.
Yeah.
As much as I can. So
absolutely.
So we'll see about the security.
But nevertheless, the push is on, right? We've seen it. There were rumors of Dell releasing something just this past week. Microsoft, Google, Apple, and many, many other companies have all, put in return to office mandates. So,
it's a pendulum.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
The other way, right?
RTO.
Well, hey, let's talk about Deepfakes. We were at dinner last night. We're in Boston on the road, by the way, meeting with customers and partners, and and
You
sponsors.
know, it was funny. These people brought this article up. I didn't realize it was one of ours.
Yeah, I didn't know until I was preparing for the podcast. Like, hey, we got an article about this.
Yeah.
And it was about a company, a financial institution in Hong Kong that lost $25 million in a scam where I think there was a remote branch office that ended up having a video conference call. There were 3 or 4 people on that call with the branch office. All of the other people remotely from where they were deepfakes. They weren't really people. And it convinced them. The CFO said, the fake CFO said, transfer this money here. And they did it,
Yep.
thinking that's what they're being a legit request.
And so, but this is the brave new world we march into, right? Normally, look, a bank's there to serve its customers. In this case, they didn't ask for ID to send ID or something like that because they actually had a true video conference with the CEO, or they thought it was the CFO of the multinational company.
Mm-hmm.
And it was clearly, I mean, it for all intents and purposes, it looked like the CFO. Who knew it was a deep fake AI of the CFO? And it was good enough to fool these people. And look, my heart goes out to them. $25 million, a lot of money.
It's a lot of money.
But, but what happened here that was interesting was the CFO asked them the bank branch people to do something that was out of the ordinary.
Kind of pretty irregular. I think they don't do many calls like that.
And he said, yeah, I know it's irregular, but I need you to do this anyway. And I think that is always where you got to put on your common sense.
It's like I've gotten a text. This is Alan says go buy cards at Target.
We got it a text from all the time, right?
No,
hey, Mitchell, can you do me a favor? Go get some Apple cards or something.
Yeah. And
read me the numbers. You got to, even if everything smells right and tastes right, if they're asking you to do something that just is out of the ordinary, take your time to verify it.
Yeah. Just ask.
Yeah.
Hey, call up the assistant for the CFO. Yep. Double checking. Like,
ask some sort of, verification, something that but we're going to need to build those verifications in here.
Yeah.
Right.
What is it? Is it watermarking? What is it? Some kind of identity management?
Well, no, I actually interviewed a company a while ago. I'm trying to think of the name of the company. That it was just that. It wasn't a digital watermark per se, but it was to weed out deep fakes, right? That it clearly is not the person who it purports to be.
Smells like opportunity to me.
Yeah, look, there's going to be a lot of opportunity. I think this is like anything else, right? When new technology comes out, there's that period where you're trying to figure out, how do you do these right? And we're in that period.
Well, we're in, I say entering, but really in an era where if you have video of people, like publicly available, have a public persona, there are tools that you can say, here's my script. Take this and turn it into video. Saying this, right?
They could do it of a video. They can easily do it with audio.
Yep, absolutely.
So, that's not going to be enough anymore to verify people's identity.
Yeah, I think we're in for a lot of people getting scammed.
Yeah. Well,
this gets figured out.
When you lose 20 million at a shot, you start coming up with solutions pretty quickly.
Get your attention.
Yeah,
for sure. Okay, so that was a great article, by the way. Richie
Jennings, our friend Richie,
had some reaction about that. So I also want to mention there was a good article, intriguing article, let me put it that way, about why an HR IT partnership is critical for managing cyber risk. And I didn't note the author's name. Apologies to the author. But the premise of it was Kaspersky saying that over half of companies, 52%, believe they face major risk from their staff. Some of it was due to remote work. Some of it's just like in general.
Well, some of it's all kind of that insider threat.
Exactly.
But some of it's intentional, like, with malice or what have you. And some of it is unintentional.
Sure, absolutely. Yeah, it doesn't mean it's
all you add them both
malicious.
Up, it's over 90%, according to Kaspersky.
And unnamed author here. I'm always suspect of when we talk about HR, adding a new responsibility or role to HR or elevating the level of importance of it, et cetera. Not that it isn't a valuable function. It's necessary, extremely valuable. But asking HR people to understand governance and cyber risk, and yes, they're part of the process when you have an issue, but they're not subject matter experts at that.
No.
Nor do they want to be. It's kind of like saying developers are going to do all our security for software, right?
They're not security people. They're developers.
So I have a little bit of a different opinion than the article states, but he recommended some areas of alignment around regulatory compliance, controlling employee data access, managing data disclosures, championing cyber risk culture. Now that might be because it's a training thing that totally fits. The others I'm not so sure about.
I don't know either, to tell you the truth. Look, it doesn't hurt to try them. And then I think what's not carpe diem, buyer beware. There's the Latin term for buyer beware.
I don't remember. Yeah.
I'll look it up. But, your mileage may vary is the bottom line. And you'll see what works for you. But it's certainly, you need to have HR policies that strengthen and help enforce your cybersecurity policies. And I think that's
certainly need to be aligned. Absolutely.
Yeah. It's kind of that cyber first mindset, which actually leads us to this next article.
And to the prior article, I took a different opposing view. Doesn't mean this guy's wrong or guy or gal.
No. Again, your mileage may vary. You got to see what works for you.
Yeah.
This next article, though, by Olga Lagunova, if I mispronounce it, Olga, I apologize. She's CTO with the Go2 teams, right? And she says, when you're doing innovation, you always got to have a security first mindset. And from your mouth to God's ears, we've been preaching that for and I'm sorry, I didn't even flip it. But yeah, we'd love for them to have a security first mindset. My problem is, I just don't think the world necessarily, works that way.
It doesn't. It doesn't. It's, it's one of those and it must be secure, right? Right. So I think, as I read the article, I was thinking about, what it's about is you have to bring that into the conversation, not just expect that security's everybody's job, so it's nobody's job, right?
Exactly.
That's not
there is that.
If you're expecting, the board on down or the product management team on down or everybody to take security as important as we do in our roles, that ain't going to happen. That's not their job.
And I think it's also, again, somewhat naive in terms of what does the creative process look like? The creative process, in my experience, it's always built around an aha or eureka moment where, man, this would be great, right? This would be something people really want. This is something we need to do. And I don't sit there and say, I wonder how great this would be if I had security.
Yeah, I agree.
Right. And what do I got to do to make my security, security first mindset? Now, you've led teams where, as part of the development cycle, security might have taken not a backseat, but some security shortcuts had to be cut corners to
it's like everything.
To get it down.
It's like time. Quality. It's like it's like insurance. How much do you need, and when do you say I can't risk. Solve all the problems? It's exactly managing.
It's managing risk. So we've all been there, done that. It would be great to live in a world where security could, put its foot down and stop anything, right?
It's kind of the world we're coming from.
Yeah, but we already have that rap, right? Of the people who say no.
Well, I think that's Olga's really premise here is that, take a security first approach when you're talking about how do we achieve our business goals. Well, you're going to have to bring that to the table.
Yeah. Well, but she does, to be fair to her, she mentions that, right? She says you got to have, she calls it collaboration. You got to have cooperation among your product, your security, and your IT teams, right? And they all have to function. But I don't think security necessarily leads the pack, if you will.
But to that point, and this is, to me, always an issue when you're introducing something new, you'd like to have everything there present from a security standpoint. You can't always have all the security capabilities you want on the first release or a beta or alpha release or whatever. Even, it's something you're enhancing as you go in the maturity of the product. I'm not saying it comes later. You don't wait till 3.0 to start introducing it, but there's more things you need to do that you can't always do up front. But you've got to introduce that into the process and the plan and in the releases. So
absolutely,
it's just part of the process. That to me, that's what the leaders have to do. So, kudos to Olga for kind of bringing this up to the forefront and helping us think about it. It's a really good article. Definitely recommend reading it.
And that's on Security Boulevard.
Now, you did an interesting interview with Cloudflare's. Is it CISO, right, Grant?
I Chief Security Officer, something like that. Yeah. So this guy Grant, first of all, he's a gem, right? He's a treasury guy. Borzikis. He's been, he's old school, like us, Mitchell. He didn't necessarily. Well, you went with a computer science degree. Grant
security, yeah.
Well, Grant didn't start in computers. He has an accounting degree.
Okay.
But he's been CISO for about 20 years. He's headed up security at some of the, top 5 banks in the world. Government stuff. I mean, he has an amazing resume, an amazing path. And heading up security at Cloudflare is a big job, right? 25% of the internet traffic goes through.
Responsible for a lot of people's security.
And, they just did a little survey or report on API security and management specifically that really, we've been talking about API security now for a couple of years, but Grant's, according to the Cloudflare's intelligence, about 57% of all internet traffic right now is API generated, right? Going to APIs.
Akamai would validate the same thing, and it's got its own numbers, but it's definitely majority of the traffic.
It's so that's how important API is. And it's also something that's fairly new for most organizations, right? As they move, they say, well, I have a WAF, right? I have a web app firewall. I got the APIs covered. Well, no, you don't. And, when Cloudflare's taking it on as, hey, man, that's part of their job to help do better with this.
So manage this. Traffic is increasing. Guess what?
Yeah. And that's where they are. And Grant's going for it. This was a video interview. It's on techstrong.tv. You could look it up there. I mean, we spoke a lot about API security and management. We've talked a lot about security, about breaking in. Grant is on the, I forget what board it is, a big board to help people get into security, right? How do we get more people in the so-called security gap, right? The skills gap.
To that point, you told me, tell us a little bit more about sort of how did Grant become the security expert he is? It wasn't just, I'm sure he's a good leader and intelligent person, but he didn't magically
as I said,
acquire
he
this
had
knowledge
an
about
accounting
security.
degree. Boy, you put me on the spot.
Wasn't he reading a lot of? No, he's.
Oh yeah, so he believes in reading books, right?
Just Grant
would read books like 1 a day or 3 a week. As soon as he finished one, he'd pick up the other one, and he's totally self-taught from reading books, like real books. By the way, this is before there was Kindle and all of that.
Yeah.
No, he'd go to the bookstore and buy books and read technical books on these things, and he's very self-taught with that, and rose up through the ranks, the hard way. But knows his stuff. I mean, as I said, he's a treasure. I can't wait to have him back on. I told the Cloudflare folks we'd love to do something around this with Grant. So looking forward to it. If you get a chance, go on TechStrong TV and check out the interview. It's a great interview.
Very cool.
Yeah.
But before we wrap up, I didn't plan this in the kind of schedule of conversation.
Okay, we're going off script.
We're going off script. We're hitting the dirt here. RSAC is coming up. We have our
in May.
We have our one-day event that we have.
Right, our DevSecOps. This is, I think, the 8th or 9th year for DevOps Connect DevSecOps.
Yeah.
On the Monday of RSA week. Once again, we're doing it. This year's theme is DevOps Connect DevSecOps with generative AI. How's generative AI influencing or affecting
Mhm.
DevSecOps. Mark Miller, our friend Mark, who's been working with us on this for all these years, he's helping assemble the speakers. We have an amazing lineup.
It's a killer lineup. It is.
Yeah,
awesome.
we have, I think, the chief security officer at OpenAI.
Mhm.
We have a top guy from I always mispronounce the name, Anthropic.
Mhm. Anthropic.
Anthropic. We have who else? We have Meta, chief researchers from
Couple
Meta,
people from
Meta.
Meta,
from Google DeepMind,
Yeah, DeepMind.
as well as Google's Office of the CIO. Our friend Dr. Anton Shavakian
Mhm.
will be presenting. AWS we mentioned. Open
Some sci-fi dude, right?
Oh, and then the keynote is great, David Brin, who's a pretty well known.
You're a fanboy.
Yeah, well, I've read almost all of David's books
I've
over
read
the
some
years.
of them, not all of them, but
And but he's also a PhD from NASA JPL, where he's worked for years. And he's probably one of the leading futurists for the last, 35, 40 years, talking about AI and stuff like that, writing about it before it was cool and before we ever heard of ChatGPT. So yeah, that's going to be a great event. It's Monday, May 6th. I'm not sure if RSAC's website has all of the information that you don't have to register to attend it. I think you just, what do they call it? Designate an interest in it or something like that as part of your regular registration. You do need an RSA badge to get in, but even an Expo Only Pass will get you in. And if you go to our page on TechStrong Events and go to the RSAC DevSecOps event, I believe we have the code there for a free Expo Pass.
yes, we'll get you in.
So you get you in there. It won't cost you anything. It's going to be a great day. Don't miss that one.
I'm excited. So I'll have a lot of fun. I'll be doing a panel there.
Right,
too.
you're doing a panel. I actually, well, fortunately, I was going to say unfortunately, but no, my youngest son's college graduation is that day, so I'll be in that evening, but not there during the day.
We'll miss you there, but
Yep.
I'll have fun stepping in and
No,
helping
do your
out.
thing.
And I think we're expecting a big attendance.
Yeah,
It's
no,
gonna
there should be between. Actually, David Brin will also be doing a book signing with one of his recent books. I don't remember which one off the top of my head. And it'll be a fun day. There'll be more book signings there as well.
Fantastic. It's exciting.
Yep. I should mention we have sponsorships available for that too. If
Oh, we
anyone's
do.
interested.
And
Yeah.
there are a limited number of them.
Yeah, I
too,
think we
right?
only have 10. I don't know how many are left, but if there's any vendors that sounds like a fun event you'd want to sponsor and be involved in, reach out to us. You can reach me and Alan at devops.com.
Yep. Every security vendor is adding AI to their products, and
We all have
some,
an AI story.
more and some getting started. So
Yep.
potentially relevant to you. So we'd love to see you there. We'd love to see you sponsor if that's of interest to you. So
Cool.
well, good.
All right,
I think
Mitch, is
we're
that
ready to
it?
wrap it up.
Let's wrap it up. So this is episode 2 of the Security Boulevard chat relaunch. Mitchell, thanks for having me on here with you. It's been fun.
Pleasure. We had a road version of our podcasting equipment here.
Right, we're mobile. Going
Doing this
mobile.
from Boston.
But yes, we're in Boston. We'll be back in the offices next week for our next episode. But until then, this is Alan Schimmel.
And Mitchell Ashley, and you've joined us for another episode of Security Boulevard Chats.
Take care.
Bye-bye.